After a few days off, we changed venue for the first time in the 2024 NBA Finals. The Celtics took care of business on their home floor inside TD Garden and hold a 2-0 series advantage in this NBA championship set. Tonight, though, we head to Dallas for game number 3 of the NBA Finals between the Mavericks and the Celtics. But big injury news, DRS, yesterday afternoon that will impact game number 3 tonight and maybe the entirety of the NBA Finals as we see it. Kristaps Porzingis is listed as questionable for game number 3. His status, as Boston declares, is day-to-day for the remainder of this championship set. This was the report from Shams Charania. Celtics Kristaps Porzingis suffered a torn medial retinaculum, allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. Many on social media yesterday saying, huh? What? Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. So here you go. Kristaps Porzingis has a bum ankle. And from the other true medical professionals on social media, including our pro football doc, Dr. David Chow, he does not believe Kristaps Porzingis is going to play again in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and I'm listening to the doc on this one. He is not going to be day-to-day at this point. And also, there's one thing, Ben, where it said, okay, I can give it a go. Don't you remember the New York Knicks? I'm like, yeah, and oh, boy, OG Anunoby's going to give it a go. Man could barely even get up and down the court. There's two different things. There's I can give it a go, and I can play at my normal all-star self. We're not going to get that out of Kristaps Porzingis, but you know what we did get out of him in game 1 and 2? All-star level Kristaps Porzingis making an absolute difference on the court. I believe if you combine games 1 and games 2, somewhere around a plus 25 on the court, that's making a difference in a championship round. That's why when we talked about Kristaps Porzingis having the ability to sit out so many games while the Celtics just cruised, because you knew eventually you would need him. And if you got him back at full strength to his 20-7 level in the regular season, they were going to be tough to beat in the finals. Now they're up 2-0, and a big part of that was Kristaps Porzingis' solid play in games 1 and games 2. I don't know if he's going to play again in the series. Again, if the doc is calling like this is going to be one of those where I think he sent out a tweet there. Could he stand at the 3-point line and shoot threes? Yes, but he's not going to be dynamic, which means that's what you need him for. We saw the chase down blocks. We saw the rebounds here. We see the ability to say, okay, if he gets the basketball, that opens up the entire court because we have to respect his game. Now, if you don't have to do that, that's certainly going to help out the Mavericks. But that's devastating news for the Celtics. But they can lean back on what, Ben? They're up 2-0 in the series. If Kristaps Porzingis does not take the court for games 3 on, they still should win this series.
Yes, and listen, without Kristaps Porzingis, who was injured initially against the Miami Heat in game number 4 of that opening round set, way back on April 29th, the Celtics still won that in 5 games, won their next series against Cleveland in 5 games, and swept the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. As of right now, there's only Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks doing anything. Maybe if Kyrie Irving wakes up and Luka gets some support, it is a tougher test than any that Boston has faced so far. Or maybe the Celtics are just far and away the best team in the NBA, booked as the NBA championship favorites all year long. Now, for Kristaps Porzingis, injured in that opening round series against Miami. That was the right calf. This is the left ankle. Completely unrelated for any of you social media doctors out there as well. But Donnie, his impact in this series has been profound. 12 points in game number 2. I believe 8 or 10 of them coming in the opening quarter, being that key 6th man for Joe Mazzulla, but an immediate impact in both of the 2 games. And he had 21 in game number 1. He was pretty much Boston's MVP in that opening round set, or just 20 in game 1. But regardless, still an immediate impact in that series and in that opening game as well. We've talked a lot about who's the Celtics NBA Finals MVP as of right now. If Boston, up 2-0, does win the NBA championship, is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? I think there's an argument to be made that Kristaps Porzingis was the MVP for game 1 and Jrue Holiday in game 2. That's his importance to this series overall.
Yeah, and we were worried about what we would get out of Kristaps Porzingis in game number 1. They told us he didn't have a minutes restriction, but wouldn't be starting. Oh, look, maybe he's just trying to ease his way back in. And he was phenomenal in game 1, which led us to believe, okay, played about 20 minutes in that game, up on the 23 minutes in game number 2, 25 games in game number 3. Now he's back in the starting lineup for game. You see where we were progressing. And if you were going to get a healthy Porzingis, that team was probably damn near unstoppable, just like they were during the regular season. We're not saying they can't win, because they were basically without Kristaps Porzingis for the majority of this playoff run, easily handling their business, but also against other maybe inferior teams and injury-laden teams, which we don't see right now out of the Dallas Mavericks. But this certainly is one to watch. And even before the injury came out, like we saw he was banged up, I still like the Mavericks, but this just gives you a little bit more ammunition if you wanted to back the Mavericks, and certainly the FanDuel Sportsbook adjusting those lines also accordingly, Ben.
Here's how the odds have moved. Dallas was already going to be booked as a slight home favorite of 1.5 points for the Game 3 spread. Now it's 2.5 in favor of the Mavs. The total has dropped by a few points as well to 12 and a hook. It had dropped because both of the first 2 games staying well under their pregame totals. It was only minus 126 money line in favor of the Mavericks. Now it's minus 144. And more importantly than outside of Game 3, a must-win, can't-lose game for Dallas, regardless of Kristaps Porzingis' status before this game. We look at the NBA Finals overall. Boston at the end of Game 2 was a minus 1,000 favorite to win championship number 18. Yesterday, market adjusted ever so slightly, minus 950, but Boston's still a heavy favorite. Now it's only minus 770. Again, to the point we have made continuously. Boston should still win with a 2-0 series lead, the Larry O'Brien Trophy, but the odds don't think it's as much of a runaway as they did with Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup.
And rightfully so. Just a direct correlation also at how those numbers are changing for game number 3, which I do think the Mavericks win. So if you're looking to bet this series long term, even though I don't think the Mavericks are going to win, that plus 540 price after Dallas wins game number 3, I believe tonight, obviously is going to get shorter. The same thing with the Boston Celtics. But that minus 1,000, let's just say Porzingis never got injured, that would still be on the same level, even though we would have a slight advantage for Dallas on their home court. Everybody giving it a go for the Celtics, which just overwhelm eventually the Mavericks here. But they get that sliver of hope. They just need to take care of business and play well tonight, and then we might have ourselves an extended series that can at least, Ben, get to 6 games.
Kristaps Porzingis, questionable for game number 3 tonight in Dallas as we change venue for the first time in the 2024 NBA Finals. If you have seen any of the pregame footage of Luka Doncic walking into TD Garden through the tunnels, it don't look good. It looks like a dad that went on a run at the age of 38 and is now sore for the next 7 days following. But we did get this news from ESPN's Tim McMahon yesterday. Luka Doncic received a pain-killing injection before Game 2 to numb the area of his thoracic contusion, sources tell Malika Andrews and Tim McMahon. The expectation is that Doncic will get another shot before Game 3. Again, we got a lot of medical jargon yesterday to relate these injury updates and the status. That's for Luka's sore knee. That's where he received that numbing shot. Expected to have that for game number 3. And Luka said yesterday, quote, "I feel good. I don't want to give any more details, but I feel good." So Luka Doncic will be out there, as is the expectation for game 3 tonight in Dallas. A 2.5-point home favorite trying to win its first game in this championship series and make it not nearly as quick and easy for Boston.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this knee injury for some weeks now. Luka Doncic has still been playing at an MVP level. So even though we're hearing now that he's getting injections, Ben, I'm not really going to take my focus off of Luka, still expecting him to be dominant once again in game number 3. And it's apparent to him it doesn't affect him on the court, because so many times, like a skill position in the NFL built on speed, that's not Luka Doncic. Like, he is more of, I know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. I'm still going to beat you to that spot because I'm more crafty than you. So I don't put any expectations of a downfall. Like, oh, no, we found that he's getting shots now. Game number 3, 17 minutes played, 7 points, and away we go. That's not the case. I still expect, and also, if we're taking a look at the FanDuel Sportsbook, they expect him to have a very involved game here, looking at that, 31.5, 32.5 point number as his points prop. I'm not worried about Luka, even after hearing this news, Ben.
When you look at Luka Doncic right now, 32.5 is the points prop for tonight. 9.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists. The over has the juice for the rebounds, the under the juice for the assists, or the odds makers would be expecting a second consecutive 30-plus point triple-double out of Luka Doncic. But let's start with the game overall. Dallas, a 2.5-point home favorite, a favorite tonight for the first time in this NBA Finals. An underdog for the first time for the Boston Celtics, not just in this series or the Eastern Conference Finals, an underdog for Boston for the first time throughout this NBA playoff run. 16 games for the C's, and this is their first time as an underdog or even as a favorite of less than 6.5 points. This is only the fourth time all year that Boston has been booked as an underdog. Their first time as a dog since April 9th against the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 of those 3 regular season games as an underdog coming on the road inside the Pfizer Forum against Milwaukee. Boston just 1-2 straight up so far this year, and thus against the spread as an underdog this season.
Yeah, and you're taking a look at what makes the most sense. After games 1 and games 2, it's pretty apparent that the Boston Celtics are the better team, but you're on your home court, and if you take a look at the overall season for the Boston Celtics, which includes the playoffs on their home court, it's been very good. It's expected here. Now, you're supposed to struggle a little bit on the road, particularly against very good opponents and quality opponents like you're going to find out here with the Dallas Mavericks, but also keep in mind, baked into that line, we understand the severity of this game for the Mavericks to win it, otherwise the series is over. That is partially baked into the number where you have to win this game. Now, having said that, there's a lot of teams out there over the past 50 years that had to win games and just came up a little bit lame. I don't expect that out of the Mavericks here, but if they want to be in the series and a chance at tomorrow, they have to absolutely win tonight. Nobody's coming back from down 0-3 at this point, and then you're saying, well, Luka's getting shots here. Is it even more important? And maybe we just shut him down the rest of the way. A lot of that could go into the equation, but the one thing I do know tonight is I like the Mavericks, and I'll back the Mavericks, and I agree with that line movement, and also gets a little bit easier. And having said that, it's a tough line to use, easier. No Porzingis in the lineup tonight. That should help the Mavericks at home.
The Mavericks have been booked as a favorite in all 8 of their home playoff games in Dallas. 5-3 straight up, 4-4 against the spread. The only win and non-cover came in the series clincher in their second round set, game number 6 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, Luka Doncic, 32.5 points, his prop tonight. He is coming off a 32-point triple-double, his third 30-plus point triple-double throughout this playoff run. But if you're the Mavericks and you're looking for a victory in Game 3, your first in this NBA championship set, it's probably Kyrie Irving needing to go over 23 and a hook. Plenty more previews of Game 3 throughout the show. Hour 2 is up next. Before the NBA Finals got underway, we gave you a pick 6, a series leader in any of the components. So how are those series leaders stacking up so far to the first 2 games of the NBA Finals? Donnie, as you can imagine, Luka Doncic is outscoring everybody else in this series by nearly 20 points individually. 30 in both, 30 in game 1, 32 in game number 2. Jaylen Brown, leading scorer for Boston in game number 1, second most in game number 2 behind Drew Holiday, is the Celtics leading scorer in the second most points scored in the NBA Finals at 43. But that market to bet now off the board because of Luka's dominance.
Yeah, and of course it should be there because also, even though we're hearing about getting injections into your knee, which certainly is never a good thing, this didn't just pop up after game number 1 or game number 2. This has been going on for quite some time here with Dallas, where we knew that he was banged up, and also getting those alerts on game day multiple times, downgrade in status for Luka Doncic. In every single game we get that, it seems like it's 40-plus minutes and another 30 points, and also maybe even a 30-point triple-double at that point. So from my perspective, I'm not losing any steam on Luka. He should easily take down that points number because why? The usage rate is going to be there regardless if he's getting injections into his knee or not.
The usage rate is there. The efficiency also has been there for Luka Doncic. His points prop tonight, 32.5. Jason Tatum has the second highest points prop at 26 in a hook. Of course, a number Jason Tatum hasn't even gotten close to throughout the opening two games in this NBA championship series. Would it surprise you then that individually Luka Doncic is the odds-on favorite to lead every of the stat categories that you can bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook? Points already off the board, but he was minus 180 entering the set. He is the rebounding's favorite at minus 105 and leads the series in rebounds by 1 over Jason Tatum. Still a hefty odds-on favorite to lead in assists at minus 175, although Tatum has a 5-assist gap right now because Luka only had 1 dime in game number 1 and Tatum had 12 in game number 2. Luka Doncic also the most made threes so far throughout this series, 8 in total. But Derek White hot on his heels after hitting 4 triples in game number 2.
Yeah, by the way, that assist one is kind of interesting, as you pointed out, because let's just say we only go 4 games. 5 assists, it's not overwhelming that he can't do that. But also keep in mind, we're talking about Luka Doncic, the player himself. And if you are the Dallas Mavericks, who are you looking towards to make that big play? It's Luka, which means he's going to have to shoot 25-plus times because he will have to get into the 30s for them to even have a chance at winning. Yeah, it's all fine and good. The only thing that's the assist, you can't make happen yourself. You can out-grit people for rebounds. You can take the basketball and shoot a ton of times to rack up points. The one thing you can never guarantee is assists. Like, ooh, let me get a couple assists in this quarter. Well, other guys have to participate on that. Wide open three-point shots, which aren't going down. Fast breaks here where they're saying, all right, we're just going to key on you, Luka, so you can't pass the basketball. You better score it yourself. That's the tough one here. So if there is one market that I might fade on Luka Doncic, it would be the assist. And granted, he still might get 10 assists tonight in a triple-double. But that doesn't mean that Jason Tatum's going to fall off the earth with, oh, he only got 1 assist here. It's apparent that everything is working in unison here. Even if the points aren't happening for Tatum, other guys are stepping up, which means those easy buckets to get those assists. So it's interesting. Luka's usage rate is going to be sky high. And again, the only market I would look at maybe a little bit differentiating would be the assists.
Yeah, I would agree. Jason Tatum right now with a 5-assist advantage. One of my best bets for that pick 6 pre-series in the series specials market was a plus 550 number on Tatum to record at least 5 dimes in every game of the NBA Finals. And depending on how many games we see, Jason Tatum might not have to do that all that much longer. He had 5 in game number 1, 12 in game number 2. Jason Tatum has recorded at least 5 assists in 10 of the last 11 for Boston, which means he's probably not going to drop off in that considerable of a margin. But Luka Doncic is not going to have another game you would expect with only 1 assist like he had in game number 1. But, Donnie, all of this is great that Luka Doncic is pretty much leading every single stat category and is the odds-on favorite. But it's also been the story of the series that the best individual player is on Dallas. His name, Luka Doncic. But without any other support, they are not going to outweigh the balance in depth of Boston. It's why the Celtics have looked dominant in their first 2 wins.
Absolutely, and might look dominant again in their performance on the road, even though the odds makers are stating that the Mavericks should be able to throw the kitchen sink at them and get a victory tonight. I don't think anybody's fading Luka in this game, but there are some stuff we'll talk about on the Celtics with Porzingis out. There's a certain player that steps back into my forecast here, so we'll have some fun with that a little bit later. But we're all looking forward to game number 3, no doubt.
On this day of Game 3 of the 2024 NBA Finals, some sad news that just came down the wire to share here on this Wednesday on the early line. Jerry West, the NBA logo, Zeke from Cabin Creek, has passed away as of this morning. Some very sad news to share here. The 14-time NBA All-Star, the 12-time All-NBA Hall of Famer, and of course, the 1969 NBA Finals MVP has passed away this morning. We welcome James Young onto the show live right here on the Early Line. JY, not how we anticipated welcoming you onto the show, but in the last minute, this news about Jerry West's passing has hit social media. What is your reaction to what we have just learned about Jerry West?
We lost an icon. We lost a legend. We lost the logo. We lost one of the best big game players in the history of the NBA, Jerry West, that for all his career just could not get by, the Celtics for all those years of Red Auerbach and Bob Cousy and Bill Russell. And then he ran into the Knicks in 70 and honestly took a one of the best performances in a Game 7 of Walt Clyde Frazier, his 36-19 to beat them. But finally in 72, he finally got his redemption by beating the Knicks, I do believe, in 5 games to win the 1972 NBA championship. So this is an iconic figure that, yeah, you may sit there and say, oh, he only won 1 NBA championship. But he did turn around and win 8 of them as an executive, rebuilding that Lakers that was really downtrodden until they got Magic Johnson in 1980. 8 championships from 1980 to 2017. Jerry West, one of the all-time greatest point guards, Mr. Clutch, his nickname, one of the best we lost today. May he rest in peace.
So as we keep it rolling here, we'll continue to bring you any updates for that breaking news. But Jerry West has passed away peacefully this morning with his wife Karen at his side at the age of 86 years old. Now to some basketball on the horizon tonight in Dallas for game number 3 of the 2024 NBA Finals. The big news yesterday, JY, to get us ready for the change of venue, the injury status of Kristaps Porzingis, listed as questionable for game number 3, listed as day-to-day for the remainder of this NBA Finals. But for many, a social media doctor, including the Pro Football doc, Dr. David Chow, it does not seem likely that Kristaps Porzingis is going to play tonight or for the rest of this championship series. How does his absence affect the rest of the NBA Finals?
It affects it a lot. And if you were looking for a pathway for Dallas to come back in this series, this is it. And I want to kind of take this, folks, away from the gambling and take a look at it as a coach. When you are a coach, you have to prepare a certain way, right, Ben, for a certain lineup, how they're going to come out there. And when you look at a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, he affects the game on both sides of the floor. His ability to stretch the floor up to 25, 30 feet from the basket with his long-range shooting, the ability to punch the gap as a big that's secretly athletic. He only needs about 1 dribble to get from the NBA three-point line to the basket to go up and score. But also, when you pull up his stats, it's the 2.5 blocks per game. You're going to say, well, coach, it's only 2.5 blocks, 3 blocks a game. It's not a big deal. Folks, it's a lot deeper than that. It's not just the blocks he gets. It's the shots he's altered. And most importantly, Ben, it's the game plan that he changes for a team like the Dallas Mavericks. Now Jason Kidd may have to go with a different game plan. Now they may look to attack off the bounce a little bit. But also for Joe Mazzulla's sake, is now you have Al Horford will start obviously. Now you're going to bring Luke Kornet off the bench. One reason why I think secretly why Mazzulla went with this lineup with Porzingis off the bench is to allow him to match up with Lively off the bench. This now unlocks maybe Derek Lively to be a little bit more lively in his performance. And now this is the pathway why you've seen the line already move from -1.5 to -2.5 for Dallas in the last day.
Key injury is certainly going to play a part in how these finals wind up. And also, let's keep in mind here, Luka Doncic getting shots injected into his knee just to be able to play. He's been hampered by this knee injury for quite some time, at least through this playoff run. Looking at the information that we're getting now where he's actively getting shots, and we anticipate another shot coming tonight before game number 3. Does that impact your handicap at all from a Mavericks perspective, Coach?
Not much, because I think it goes hand in hand. I think you shoot him up, you have him play through the pain or numb it up. But then on the flip side, when you look at something like this, it goes back to the Porzingis factor. You have now a situation where, if you are Joe Mazzulla, right, with Porzingis at the front of the rim, you're going to get up into Luka and Kyrie's space, right, because you want to funnel him to the basket. Well, now if you don't have that rim protector, that changes your defensive outlook. Maybe now you can give him a little bit more space to allow him to shoot, because now if you get up on him, he's going to punch the gap. I think it opens up a lot of different things for Luka. Maybe, the over 3.5 made threes and -170 is just way too much for me. Maybe something, see if he starts out the game slow, see if you get the juice to drop a little bit and then jump in end game. I think if I'm Boston, I may have to give him a little bit more space, which could open up the 3-point shot for him tonight.
Luka did not start slow, of course, in game number 2. He has made at least 4 threes in both of the 2 games so far in this NBA Finals. But Kristaps Porzingis, not only the scoring output in games 1 and 2, 5 blocks in the first 2 games, multiple in each, 3 in game 1, 2 more in game number 2. So not only, JY, has the absence of KP moved the line for game number 3 tonight, but the overall series price still minus 770 in favor of Boston. But yesterday it was minus 950 to seize a hefty favorite up 2 games to none. Does the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, we asked you about for this game and the rest of the series, but does it ultimately change how you think this series ends up and who wins the Larry O'Brien Trophy?
It opens up more of a pathway to Dallas. I think Dallas winning it is going to, honestly, at this point, Ben, it's going to have to be 7 games. So maybe the best play could be Dallas plus 2.5 games at plus 108 right now. Maybe a way for you to go ahead and get it. They win tonight. Maybe they win game number 4, and then you've already cashed out and won.
I think it's a really good look in terms of just seeing this duration go. If Boston does not win in 5 games or less, you cash that series spread with the Mavericks a 2.5 game underdog. Now to the specifics of game 3 up next.
SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
1.81 goals against average, 9.20 save percentage. He's also 6-2 in his last 8 road starts as well. The Oilers are a great road team. I actually think it's an advantage for them that they don't have home ice. That potentially 4 of the games are on the road. We've seen 56% of the games this year in the NHL playoffs, the road team has actually won.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Game number 3 of the 2024 NBA Finals tonight in Dallas. We changed venue for the first time in this championship series, and the Mavericks back at home in the Lone Star State, booked as a favorite for the first time in the NBA Finals. In fact, it is just the 4th time now in 99 games overall this year for the Celtics. They have been booked as an underdog. Only 3 times in the regular season, not a single time throughout this playoff run for the C's. The total stands at 212 and a hook. So we talked about Luka Doncic getting a shot in his knee. We talked about Kristaps Porzingis. More than likely will not play tonight in game number 3, probably not again for the rest of the 2024 NBA Finals. But as we focus specifically on the matchup tonight in Dallas, JY, between the Celtics and the Mavericks, if the Mavs are going to make good on that favored number, if the Mavericks are going to get win number 1 of the NBA Finals, what is the reason why?
Well, we talk about shots. Kyrie Irving needs a shot of adrenaline, because if it comes down to it, Ben, he's got to be markedly better. And I'm looking squarely at his over under 4.5 points in the first quarter. Simply put, Kyrie needs to come out slugging. And that means a 3 and a 2 early on. I think everything is correlated with this Porzingis injury. I think Kyrie's got to be better. You got to look at Kyrie Irving that, guys, I'm going to say this. This could be a career-defining moment in Kyrie Irving's career. I know he has the chips already, the Game 7 shot he hit against Golden State. But he has not been good in this series. And if he wants to erase the narrative, he's got to show up and show it early. I love Kyrie Irving to be aggressive. I love Kyrie Irving to go over his 4.5 points in the first quarter and actually may take him over 23.5. This needs to be a breakout game, Ben, because if it's not, they don't have a chance to win.
Let's take a look at the Celtics here and some of their props per player. And also keep in mind, winning that MVP of the finals still very much up for grabs. Will it be a night where Jason Tatum takes over, Jaylen Brown takes over, or even Drew Holiday? From that Celtics perspective, Coach, who steps up and rises up to the occasion tonight for them?
You know, to me, it's going to be Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum has done a little bit of everything. I think there's a point where he needs to go out and go and score the ball. And I think I'm looking at Tatum the same way I'm looking at Kyrie. Now, Tatum's points prop is 7.5 points plus 112. I think he also needs to come out and be a little bit aggressive and kind of take it to him a little bit. So I'm looking at Tatum over in the first quarter points. I'm thinking those two may trade, jabs early on in this game and get the game going. Jason Tatum scoring the ball. He's done everything else, guys. Let's be honest. He's been great with the rebounding. His ability to create for others and willing to sacrifice it's been great. But when you go on the road guys don't shoot as well in the home gym. They got to shoot better, particularly Tatum. I think he goes off to a good start tonight.
26.5, the points prop for Jason Tatum. He has been well under so far in the first two games of this 2024 NBA Finals. Now to Kyrie Irving and Dallas. 23.5 is the points prop for Kyrie. He has not reached 20 yet throughout this NBA championship series. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic, 30-plus in both of the first two games. His points prop up there to 32.5. If you add it up, JY, doing the simple math, carry the 7, that's 56 expected combined points between Luka and Kyrie tonight. Can Dallas win game number 3 if those two don't go over that combined total?
They better be damn close, Ben. Like, if it's like 54, 55, yeah. But if it's 45, 42, 40, no chance. It's got to be Kyrie. Ben, it's more about the fact of their ability to, what we've talked about, trade roles of Batman and Robin. Allow Kyrie to get going a little bit, to rest up Luka a little bit. We always talk about as a coach, you rest offensively, not defensively. So to me, let Kyrie cook early. Him and Luka trade roles. As long as they get in that 54, 55 range, I think they should have enough to win tonight.
Game number 3 tonight in Dallas. The Mavericks at home throughout this postseason run. 8 games booked as the favorite in all 8. 5-3 straight up. 4-4 against the number. The Boston Celtics, JY, on the road 6 times. A perfect 6-0, but booked as a favorite in all previous 6 road contests for the C's. An underdog for the first time in this playoff run for Boston. James Young, a fadeaway to the break. Ahead of game number 3 tonight in Dallas of the 2024 NBA Finals. We're back for hour number 3. A couple of pump fakes. We're back for hour number 3 of the early line on this Wednesday. Up next.